You know what time it is, man? It's time to see another NXT TakeOver and then realize that the next day we're going to get a crappy event from the main roster. You don't even have to see the event anymore.
Yeah,
you just
know.
instinctually know. And case in point, this TakeOver is one that comes right before, not one of the big four events from the main roster, but kind of like the fifth biggest event in relevance. So you kind of expect there not to be a lot of changes, and there wasn't. There wasn't any belt changes. But despite that, it still like soars above any main roster event for the last like 70,000 years.
The opening match alone, I said that's better than
any match alone is better than
true.
So anyway, we just saw NXT takes over Chicago, this year's version, of course. This is kind of return to the old Chicago stomping grounds, previous NXTs, relevant in a later match. But the first match that began this was for the NXT Tag Team Championship, and of course, the Undisputed Era currently holds it, and they were going up against Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Who did you expect to win? Who did you want to win? Give it to me.
I didn't expect the titles to change, and I could have gone either way. It would have been cool to see Oney and what's his face win, but you know, what I thought was gonna happen happened.
Yeah, me too. I didn't expect the titles to change. I didn't feel that it was the time for them to change either way. But yeah, like you, I was like, I like both these teams. I could go, if they did change, I would be totally okay with it. But, you know, despite how it's only been like a few weeks or a couple of months that the rivalry between them.
Pretty young still.
Yeah, and even then, it's much more build up than anything on the main roster. So, because there's, you know, you actually feel for these characters, you want to see something from these characters, what have you. So if the change would have come, it would have been totally fine with me. And on top of that, you know, likable team. But anyway, the match concluded with a sweet takedown that, you know, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly effect quite viciously. But that's not to say that that was the only time this match got vicious. Really, it was kind of like a showcase for the Undisputed Era for the most part. It really showed how a well-oiled, vicious machine they are. And that was really cool. Not to say that Lorcan and Burch were kind of shafted. No, they actually got to do their piece, and they actually kind of ended up winning the crowd over. But that goes to show how over the Undisputed Era is, despite the fact that they're heels. I mean, the crowd was behind Undisputed Era through and through. What do you got to say?
I think this was kind of like one of those matches that you know these people aren't going to win. In the case of what's his face,
Burch and Lorcan.
Yes, you know they're not going to win, but it's kind of like to show how good they can be. And I think they did do that pretty well. Mostly it was Undisputed's match, but the punishment they took was pretty impressive, and when they did get some offensive off, it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, it really
so
was.
It ended up winning the crowd over, and it ended up winning me over. Not that I didn't like the team, but it was one of those where I'm like, okay, I like it, but they're kind of new, and they haven't had a lot of time on screen, except for these last couple weeks. But this one kind of cemented, like, all right, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely gave them the air of an underdog, especially considering, as aforementioned, how Strong and Riley are together. And how unrelenting they are. So when either Burch or Lorcan would get the upper hand, it actually felt, you know, I mean, we like them, but if you didn't, you definitely feel that rush of cool, man. These people are getting ahead a little, and they took some good bumps too. Most notably, Lorcan taking I think it was Lorcan off the top rope to the apron.
Oh, yeah.
Which looked pretty fucking painful.
I thought he was dead, especially because he disappeared for a while.
But yeah, man, great conclusion. Great start to the whole show. And like you said, immediately it was like, yeah, tomorrow's going to fucking suck with the Money in the Bank. Compared to this already, I know, not even having seen it, that it's going to, this is better already. But anyway, that was that, and the next match was Ricochet versus the Velveteen Dream. This was not for any title or anything. It was just kind of a little grudge that's been going on between them. Kind of like a ego versus ego type of match. And, man, who did you expect to win, and who did you want to win?
I was pretty excited for this one. I was expecting. I don't know, honestly. I didn't really have an expectation going to this one. I just thought it was going to be a good match going in. I would have liked maybe Velveteen to win, but I was totally open to Ricochet winning also. This was one of those where, like, anything that happens, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah, I think that's across the board for most of these matches because the rest of the roster in NXT is so damn good.
Yeah.
You really don't give a shit who wins as long as they win and as long as the stories remain as strong as they do. And, yeah, despite this being your typical, clash of egos type of match, you're interested, one, because these guys are supreme athletes and they're at the top of their game. So you really wanted to see what would come out of that. And we've gotten a taste of that as the weeks, led up to this. I myself wanted Velveteen to win because I don't feel that he should have another loss after his previous big story. That didn't happen, of course. What ended up happening was Ricochet won after Velveteen tried a coast-to-coast Purple Rainmaker and missed the mark. So, taking advantage of that, Ricochet did a 630 splash off the top rope and took out Velveteen. But despite despite my opinion that I feel that Velveteen should have won, I think that the way he lost still lends credence to where his character is at. He lost basically because of hubris, of ego. He wanted to keep matching Ricochet's physical prowess and athletic prowess, and because of that, he lost. So that's good. That's fucking excellent, actually. That the main roster needs to take a fucking slice of this fucking writing right here.
That is something that Maine doesn't seem to understand, that losing is fine as long as there's a reason behind it or something that builds. Like, we love Lucha Underground, and your heroes will lose like almost 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But as long as there's a reason and something that might continue the feud, that's fine.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right about that. But anyway, the match itself, it actually started kind of slower than than probably we were anticipating because of the way these guys usually go at it. Among themselves or among other people, especially Ricochet. And I mean, not obviously Velveteen's no slouch, but it did build up steadily. And as the thread of the story became much more evident, the stakes rose because it literally was Velveteen trying to one-up Ricochet the whole time for a long time. And he actually had, the advantage for a while there. And so Ricochet kind of became the inadvertent underdog by default, which is a strange place to see him in. So when he did burst out of that cocoon there that he was in for a while, it was like a welcoming back somebody that you haven't seen in a long time, even though it's literally been like a few weeks. But yeah, man, once Ricochet was in the swing of things, he did what he does best, and that was that. The momentum generally went in his favor, but they did exchange quite a many movie. Even Ricochet himself kind of stooped down to doing what Velveteen was doing.
A little mocking.
So
that was cool. I was a little iffy with the beginning because it was, like you said, it was kind of a slow start, and I didn't know where it was going.
I gotta before you continue, I got a question. Why is the shot so fucking hazy?
I don't know.
It's like we're smoking a fucking doob in here.
Like we're smoking doobs. I don't know if this is a thing that they'll be able to see either.
Anyway,
if
it's hazy, if the shot is hazy, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Something's going on.
Anyway,
where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I was a little iffy with the slow beginning, not because I'm against slow beginnings, just because it was a little off to see Ricochet be in that position.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does become obvious what they're doing with Velveteen kind of keeping him to the mat, because that's generally not where Ricochet is strong in, strongest in. But it did kind of, for all those people who are like against the flippy shit that Ricochet is known for, it was kind of neat to see that be like, oh, he can actually do shit on the ground also in this slower pace. So I think it did serve a purpose, and ultimately at the end it was pretty rad. So it was a pretty cool match.
The thing is, at this point, kayfabe's long dead.
Yeah.
So why are we trying to keep it too technical all the time? There's room for technical, and there's technical geniuses out there that make it entertaining and make it seem as like an effective technique. But there's room for this as well because literally at this point what we're watching is people trying to be fucking superheroes in the flesh live. So there definitely is room for that. And these two guys are some of the best at it. So yeah, it was a pretty damn good match, if I gotta say so myself. Anyway, the next match was for the women's championship between Shayna Baszler, aka the woman with a baby face, and a mean baby no less, and Nikki Cross, the psychotic fucking banshee. And who did you want to win? Who did you expect to win? Again, this is a kind of a nascent feud.
Yeah, it barely just started,
especially with Nikki being away for so long. But despite that, again, there was a lot of momentum behind it because of what Shayna's been doing to everybody else.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've kind of missed Nikki and her coming back in this capacity made her an immediate, hit with the crowd, on top of the fact that she already was a hit. So who did you expect to win?
I expected Shayna to win. I would have liked... No, you know what? I would want to Nikki to win, but later on. Not now. What is this?
I'm really amused by this haze.
I don't know what this haze is.
The fuck is this haze, man?
This episode is brought to you by Michael Hayes.
Anyway, I expected Shayna to win. I wanted Shayna to win because I don't think...
Yeah, it's too early.
Yeah, she needs a lot more time with the belt, and she's definitely earned that time with the belt. So, yes. But I also, of course, would have been okay with Nikki winning. She's had tenure there for a while, and, she's earned it, basically, at this point. As a character, not in terms of this feud. But, yeah, the right thing happened with Shayna winning. Anyway, it basically ended with Shayna getting a rear naked choke on Nikki and not making her tap out, though. So this is why this really concluded in the perfect way for both characters. Because Shayna is being portrayed as this top-tier athlete, unstoppable, ruthless and merciless, which is how she ends this. And Nikki, of course, is this psychopathic weirdo, almost with a masochistic, bent to her. So as she is being put into the submission hold, instead of tapping out, they show her kind of getting a sick joy out of it, pleasure out of it. She
tries to reach for the ropes, but as it becomes obvious she can't, she just kind of is like, all right, stay here and smile till I freaking die, basically.
So this was pretty good. And on top of that, it showed earlier in the match they showed exactly how much Nikki's unstable mentality was affecting Shayna Baszler's confidence. So everything that benefited these characters was laid out there pretty well. And the match itself, of course, was pretty good. It's always a pleasure to see Nikki Cross be psychotic, and Shayna has proven that she is quite worthy in the ring. So I think ultimately their characters benefit out of the entirety of this match. And who knows, maybe this feud will continue. Hopefully it will. Any other thoughts?
If you take this one as kind of like a beginning or a first step into the feud, stop smiling. I know the haze is very distracting.
It's getting hazier in here.
It's not good. We could just start over, but we won't. Anyway, as a beginning step, if this does continue, it's pretty good. It does have a good place to go to next. Also, haze.
Yeah. The next match was for the NXT Championship, and that was between Aleister Black, the current holder, and Lars Mega Diaper Sullivan. Who did you expect to win? Who did you want to win? This is probably, by the way, the only one that I had a question about whether it was going to stay with anyone or move on the belt. Because Lars has been getting a pretty hefty push. And, Aleister's been undefeated on top of being the champion. So that's a double whammy of things that he's achieved. So I thought maybe it could be. Yeah. But I honestly didn't think the maybe was dominating versus the it's probably going to stay. But anyway, who'd you expect to win?
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. This was probably the only one that had a maybe to it. I did expect Aleister to keep, though, to win. And I would have wanted him to win. Although, Lars is growing on me.
Probably that diaper. Like
that-
this haze is getting bigger and bigger.
That diaper's really... It's weird that the haze is only affecting your side mostly,
Yeah.
too, by the way. Also, if this haze is invisible to the viewers, they
They
don't know what the
think we're
shit
crazy.
they're talking about.
Anyway, the haze.
Yeah.
The match ended with Alistair having to execute 2 black masses against Sullivan to take him down. And before that, though, I gotta say, I know Lars is barely growing on you. I kind of been big on Lars since he first came out, you know. And it takes a lot for me to like a big guy, you know, because usually a big guy is like from the, you know, you don't even have to be talented. You could just go out there and be a big guy and be intimidating. But Lars has shown kind of like a dexterity in the ring.
Yeah, I'll say I don't know which one he was in. The last takeover he was in, he kind of won me over on that one because he did show a lot of risk and shit. Whereas before he was just kind of shown
Big
as
guy?
like squashes and shit. So
Yeah.
to actually see him actually wrestle was cool.
And don't make no mistake, when he's the gigantic beast, he's good at it. He's great at it. So yeah, but to show him actually go toe to toe with Alistair, do his big Titan thing, but show a little bit more, you know, agility in the ring, and you know, actually be a bit more sprightly. That was pretty cool, man. And of course, Alistair's Alistair, so you know you're gonna get quality off the cuff.
I just discovered the source of the haze. In case you were wondering, the lens seems to be fogged over for some reason.
It's the heat emanating from me.
Yeah.
But
Only on your side. What the shit?
maybe the closer I get, the more hazy I'll get.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, they put on actually. This was probably my second favorite match of the whole show. It was pretty awesome.
Pretty
man.
good.
I really liked the way they showed Alistair at wit's end, and it was a good, you know, kind of David and Goliath face off. And like I said, Lars continues to impress with, you know, how capable he is. So yeah, through and through, it was pretty damn fun. Again, some good blows, some good hits, little nasty spills here and there. Yeah, Lars looking like the monster he should look like.
I don't like his diaper.
His diaper is massive. So yeah, pretty great. Anything you want to add to this?
No, I think this was a pretty solid match. We'll see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'll continue it or not, but either way, it looked good for both of them.
My concern was that, like I said, it was most likely that Black was going to win, I thought, and he did. My concern was, where would that leave Lars? It's not going to hurt Alistair, but there's
Where does
that.
Lars go?
Yeah, Lars
go
is,
against Kona?
he's a big guy, and if a big guy gets beat by somebody that's not that big or menacing, physically speaking, then there's a chance that you just might kill the momentum right there. But they kept they made it pretty clear that it took Alistair using up all his gas in his tank, you know, to take him down. And then, you know, here's Alistair. It was 3 black masses that he used.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the last 2 were consecutive. So yeah, Lars came out intact, I believe, and it was a great match, so it worked out pretty well. But the match of the night, I think you'll agree with me, was the Chicago Street Fight, again for no belt. This is basically a grudge match at this point.
Continuing over from last takeover.
Between Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. And this, of course, it's got to be the best storyline that WWE has going on any of its fucking formats.
For a while.
For a long while now. And it continues to be so, and it appears that it will continue to be so. Who did you expect to win? Who did you want to win?
I did expect Gargano to win because it just seems like it's gonna go there, and you know, Ciampa's being a complete asshole over the last couple weeks. We have had Gargano lose a shit ton before, you know, when he was facing Almas. But the way this storyline goes, it just seems sensical to have him win after all this time. Especially how long the feud has been going. I'm like, okay, they're gonna end the feud now. Apparently not, though, and it's pretty surprising, the result.
Yeah, man. I expected Ciampa to win, and that's what we got. But I think the way they executed it was 10 times better than anything I could have anticipated.
Yeah.
Because yes, the feud could have ended last time, but as the story lends credence to what the fuck is going on between these guys, it's gone beyond the boundaries of
a match,
just a normal feud, just bad blood between them. It's now gone to the point where Ciampa has affected Gargano's state of mind. And that ultimately paid off. It's kind of like seeing Joker actually break Batman.
Yeah.
Is where we've gotten to. So Gargano went beyond the boundaries of his morality in the ring to try to get at Ciampa.
Yeah.
And then we saw, since this is Chicago TakeOver, we saw a parallel of the previous Chicago TakeOver where this whole story started to begin with between them. We saw a parallel of that only with the role switch, which was pretty fucking cool. Great storytelling, proof that you can do that in the WWE and achieve it well.
Yeah, and they're really, the parallel was pretty damn great, especially with the visual of freaking Gargano up there doing the little Ciampa sit and look. It's kind of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of come full circle.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, that injury might have really helped this storyline. Because having all that time really made it much more important.
Yeah, it definitely gave a heft and a meaning to the river that runs between them. So, and then on top of that, we got to see a lot of cool stuff that we normally don't see anymore.
Yeah.
Even in NXT, since this was a street fight, there was no DQs.
The haze is going away.
The haze is gone. There was no DQs, and they could use anything and everything at their disposal. We even got to see the curtain pulled back a little in the sense that the ring mat was, the apron was taken back and the ring mat itself was peeled back. And ultimately, that's how this match ended, where Gargano had gone so far off the edge that he had taken an injured Ciampa back into the ring and was more than willing to dispose of him in a variety of ways. He put him into the Gargano lock a couple of times. He shackled him.
Kicked him in the face.
Yeah, he was using everything at his disposal to get rid of Ciampa to the point where...
It's worthy to note that he made him tap several times.
Yeah.
But there was no referee.
So nobody loses out on that in terms of their credibility as characters, which is great. But ultimately what did him in was how far he had gone over the edge. Because in his unending fucking crusade to take Ciampa down, he goes back into the ring, is caught up in the ropes by Ciampa, who reverses him climbing back into the ring, into a DDT, onto the bare mat, and that was it. He was out for the count. So, shit, I mean, where does this leave these people? And you know what? I don't know if they're going to go there, but when the ref was telling Ciampa that's enough, this is before, Gargano took over the end of the match. When he was telling Ciampa that's enough, Ciampa very audibly said in the range of the camera,
"Yeah, that's not enough.
That's not enough. You don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
I know." And then later we had the thing with the ring, where he kind of defiles the sanctity of Gargano's marriage with Candice LeRae. So I was like, is this going somewhere where I think it's going, or what? Are they laying some seeds, or is there more to this than meets the eye?
That is interesting because he did also. Yeah, there has been kind of some seeds there now. Yeah, I think about definitely. It over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. So that would be really interesting if they took it there, because that would show that yes, you can do the soap opera type stuff.
Yeah.
And still have these serious matches that really work incredibly well. So if they do that, that would be really interesting to see where that went. But I don't know. I don't know if that was intentional, if that was, I don't really know. But either way, the match was, I think, fantastic.
Yeah, I personally, I do think their previous match was a little bit better because it was more, when it comes to wrestling, because it was more technical and, freaking hurt to see that shit. And having Morrow, though, really helped weirdly. And Percy shitting himself was hilarious. That being said, this one was much less a match and much more a fight. And in that sense, it's still pretty damn great.
And there was some really painful spots in this, especially with Ciampa dropping Gargano down on the steps.
Yeah.
That looked pretty fucking painful.
There's this bit where I think Ciampa is like freaking elbowing Gargano in the back of the head. And I'm like, oh, stop! Shit looks painful.
Gargano throws Ciampa over the commentary table, and everybody in the world gets destroyed apparently.
Yeah,
and especially what's his face?
Nigel,
British ass. Yeah, so that's good. But anyway,
and then we have that little short-lived EC Dub chant.
Yeah,
with the sign. That was funny.
Yeah, that was cool to see a plant in the audience. Even I was like, what the fuck's he going to do with a floppy ass sign? There was a plant in the audience holding a sign that said, basically, use this sign to hurt your opponent. And I was like, what the fuck? But there was a stop sign hidden in the sign. So that was neat. It's unless they're cheering Roman Reigns on, it's rare to see a plant that actively involved in you know.
I do think this is probably the closest we'll see to an ECW match.
Yeah.
Not a lot of blood, but when it comes to the style of it, it was basically just a freaking fight with a bunch of shit in there. Yeah. Only there was actually some good wrestling in there.
So Kona wasn't involved because it was good wrestling. But anyway, this was a great event, as should be expected from NXT at this point. Definitely going to overshadow Money in the Bank. Don't even have to watch Money in the Bank to know that. So there's that. But anyway, final rating. Any final thoughts you want to throw out there?
I think as a takeover that is not one of the big four pre-takeovers, it was good. It was really good. I don't think it's the best takeover. I still think the last one's probably their best one they've done so far. But that was a big four one. So when you take that into account, this is still a really good takeover, and I think, yeah, tomorrow's they're screwed. There's no way they're gonna top it. I'll give it a solid 8.5. I do think it could have been better, but that street fight was freaking great. So, that's why it's not low. It's pretty high. I just think it could have been a little better.
Yeah, I pretty much share the same sentiment. This is in comparison to excellent quality that they've been spewing.
Yeah, this isn't the NXT freaking scale. So
yeah,
the scale's really high.
If we were compared this to a WWE event,
like 50,000,
it would be a grade of $5 billion.
Yeah,
because WWE has nothing on the main roster has nothing on NXT. But yeah, in comparison to other NXT events of its caliber, or of in the recent year or so, yeah, I mean it does fall a little bit under that. But of course, I mean, come on, that's like calling a gold nugget less than a lump of gold. I mean, it's still gold.
I still think the last one's is probably one of the best events I've seen in a long ass time. So it would be hard to live up to that.
Yeah. But I think ultimately, in the end, this is an example. You know how the fucking stupid ass Greatest Royal Rumble was basically just a holdover show?
Yeah.
Like where nothing changed hands.
This is technically a holdover show.
This is a holdover show, but this is proof that you could do that and still be engaging. Still be
like advanced storylines and shit.
Yeah, still be at the top of your game. Be involved. Get the audience involved. High stakes, everything. You could do all that and still be a holdover show. So anyway, yeah, I'll give it a 8.52. It is excellent. Give it a watch. Probably watch it instead of Money in the Bank, because fuck.
Yeah.
That's going to suck.
It's not good when I actually look forward to the takeovers and the main roster shows are like, shit, that's going to be long.
Yeah, on the plus side, we'll get to finish that Bobby Lashley crap.
The fact that Money in the Bank has a Bobby Lashley is already making that a piece of shit.
Yep.
Compared to freaking this.
Fucking sad. Anyway,
the haze is gone, so that's
the haze is gone, so that's a good sign. But anyway, it's been Ahab and the Goon Tick. We are the Wrestle Ramblers. Hit like, share, subscribe. Tell us what you thought about this event, because we're out.